What about the new one, the stuff you're recording for that, or are you taking some of these old things again?
No, this is all, so far it's all brand new.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's not even a cover version so far. There's nothing, which is unusual. I usually stick a couple in, and see, this song, I had no defense because I've been going to the studio for years, pretending I've got loads of songs and I bang them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Charlie picks up on it, and I pretend, and they think that I know what I'm doing. And so, but this time I was getting pressure, for Nick especially, let's work a little bit on some songs before we go in.
Mm.
So, I thought I had no defense, and anyway, I didn't mind doing that anyway, because I just go in the studio and do it the way I do it because I'm lazy, I guess, in a way, and it's easier. And it doesn't really make that much difference, but we did work a little bit this time. Nick and I worked like for 2 or 3 weeks before the session started. We got 3 or 4 songs together.
What's it like, the stuff? Getting into any sort of particular groove?
Well, I don't know. It's always hard to say with the Stones, because to me a lot of it is just the Stones playing, There's some good songs. There's a real heart back to sort of Memphis soul in a lot of the tracks. Whether it'll be apparent by the time the album comes out, that depends on the choice of tracks and what, what's available or immediately available at the time, which tracks we actually end up working on to make the next album. Once again, we've ended up with like 40-odd tracks. It's a pleasant position to be in one way, but in the end, it's still like decisions. Do you go with this one, and this one's nice, which ones do you actually end up using?
Yeah.
And like I say, as with emotional music, it'll end up, no doubt, using the ones that are the most advanced technically and structurally, and although there may be much better songs on tape, they're just not developed yet to the point where we can work on them in the studio. We'd have to recut them or whatever, so to a point you're limited, even though you might have an infinite number of tracks. You've got to cut yourself down to a workable number, because if you work on them all, you'll be in there forever. It's like painting the Sistine fucking chapel, and you'll be on your back for years, So you do have to tend to go with the ones that are more immediately ready to, and more developed than some of the others. It doesn't mean that the best particular collection of songs that you could put together, but it's a matter of marrying the business with the art and business is where they clash, the usual, if you can call it art. He won the midget, didn't he?
Yeah?
Yeah,
looks like it.
They both took a hammering, but he did win, the little fucker.
Nose up.
Charlie is my darling, that was the...
Oh yeah, it's fun. Is there still that thing with Mick? We were talking last time about you were really into the sort of version of dance that didn't get on Emotional Rescue, but Mick had his sort of slick version, Is all this still happening?
In a way, yeah, it is. It's not at that sort of point that it was then, where I was sort of totally out in the cold on it. You see, mainly because I've known Nick, and Nick has known me since we were 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I can recognise certain things that Mick's doing, maybe way ahead of anybody else, just because I've known him so much longer.
Yeah.
I'm an only child, but if I've got a brother, in one way it's him, because he's been there around almost as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
So I know him that much. I probably know him better than his own brother then. And that came, last time we spoke, there came to the point that Owen McGrath was still heading up Rolling Stones Records, and actually ended up, the whole story ended up with the reason that I did All About You. You know, nobody would talk to him 6 months because they thought it was all about them. You know, everybody thought it, you know. I mean, it's a surprise. Even my kids came up to me and said, it was about me. I mean, everybody thought it was, you know, everybody took it personally. Yeah, and it was just like a way of finishing off the whole thing, you know. I did that vocal and that was the last thing I did on the album, mixed it and cut my thumb open on the Jack Daniels bottle that I smashed while I was doing the vocal. And left a trail of blood sort of down 8th Street from Electric Ladyland, and that was it, you know. And I said, well, that's got to be it. I'm bleeding. I'm not going to do anything else for this album, you know. And there's an reason that everybody, for about 6 months, Ronnie, it's about me. It's probably about me. It's more me than anybody. Yeah, but it was like, oh my God, you know, chucked in the job because of that song. He thought it was all about him. And that was an amazing effect. You know, that, I mean, to answer the question, yeah, the situation is still there in a certain way. I mean, but, you know, Rolling Stones, the Rolling Stones, we've been together 20 years and we can stick together through thick and thin, but there is still that certain division between Nick and me that we, you know, that we're both doing our best to work on, and it ain't that big a thing that we can't deal with it, because we've always worked to a certain point. One of the reasons that it's worked for so long is that Nick and I have been able to work at it, you know, within a certain amount of friction. Yeah. And it's one of the things, is the abrasiveness between us two that is sort of one of the main points, you know. It's one of those, it's like what makes a pearl in the oyster, you know. It's that grit, a little bit of grit in there, yeah. I mean, it'll always be there, but it's nothing near as drastic as it was then, you know.
Yeah. He's gone through his fair share of the John Blake treatment.
Well, I mean, as far as I know, Nick's just sort of totally overexposing himself, but that's his, you know, I mean, how much can you say? I mean, you can talk about what you do, and, you know,